Hello, Alkalites, and welcome back to After Plague. Today, I am continuing the second week of Inktober. I'm just going to jump right into it. Today's prompt was the word wizard, and I thought it would be really cool to do this wizard hand that was decayed by magic holding a sort of stylized fireball. This week I really wanted to focus on my line weight, so you can see that there's a lot of variation in the line weight here, especially on the hand and within the fireball. So I'm working on that, and I wanted this to be relatively lightly shaded, just because the light from the fireball would be coming off of it and providing a lot of light on the actual hand. I'm pretty satisfied with how this one turned out. That is day 8 wizard. The next day, day 9, was Scorpion. I wish that this concept was a little bit more unique, but honestly the only thing I could think of was somebody who had been stung by a scorpion, and I really didn't want to look up images of scorpion stings. I'm kind of not super great with gore and stuff, so you'll hear me say that a couple times, that over the course of this week's Inktober, there were certain things that I wanted to make a little bit more violent, but I don't like looking up references for that because I am a giant weenie, so instead I just go with a little bit more tame of an approach to the prompt. So again, just a plain old scorpion here. What I really wanted to do is make him look super shiny, so I focused on that with a lot of the white on him. One of the hardest parts was actually his shadow. I don't know why it gave me so much trouble, but that's day 9 Scorpion. Day 10 was Ancient, and it was actually pretty fun. I decided to do a skeleton in a coffin. I like skeletons a lot. I think skeletons are really fun to look at in art, but it's been a long time since I've drawn any. I used to draw them quite a bit for a figure drawing class that I did, and it's been a long time, so don't pay too much attention to those ribs because they are whack. That is not what ribs are supposed to look like at all. I also did use a 3D model reference for this one, just because I was having a hard time thinking about where the bones would be positioned in the body. But I think he reads well enough as a skeleton, despite his very strange ribs. I also did a lot of hatching shading on this one to really make him look old and decrepit and dirty, which is something that I was really trying to emphasize with this image, is obviously the word ancient, because that was the prompt. So adding in a lot of this dark shading made him look a lot older than if I had just left him relatively blank. So that was what took up the majority of my time with this illustration, was all of this hatching. It took so long. But I really enjoyed it. I'd like to draw some more skeletons. Maybe you'll see some more in Inktober in the future. I don't remember the prompt list off the top of my head, so yeah, I don't know if there's more skeletons coming down the line. Also, I was really trying to create some good silhouettes with this one, so you'll see that the skeleton is white, the coffin is black. Sorry, the inside of the coffin is black, the outside of the coffin is white, and then the exterior is black. So it creates this really nice contrast between them. I added in these spider webs and then beat up the coffin a lot, made it look dusty and old, and added some dust particles in the air. And that was day 10, Ancient. Day 11 is the word rot. So I started out with this sketch of this pumpkin that was falling apart. I actually found this image on Google and decided it was just too cute and I had to draw it. You can see here that I'm also emphasizing the line weight a lot in the leaves in the background, but unfortunately that work does get covered up because I make those leaves black to create a nicer silhouette. What I thought was really important to make this look rotted was to really emphasize these wrinkles, and it also made the pumpkin look almost more anthropomorphized. It made it look more human because of the wrinkles. So that was the idea, to really emphasize the sagginess, the softness of this pumpkin, because that's what happens when they rot. I thought about doing a zombie for this one, but ultimately I really wanted to draw a pumpkin. So that is day 11 rot. It was a nice, short, easy one. Day 12 was the word wasp. And again, I kind of wanted to do somebody that had been stung by a bunch of wasps, but I didn't want to look up that image because that's scary. So instead, I decided to do this honeycomb-esque structure and just put some wasps on top of it. It's not exactly the scariest illustration I've done, but it's not the worst looking either. It's fine. What took me the most time was doing all of these cubes here. There's the little image of the wasp that I'm doing. I think that if I had one critique of this piece, I don't feel like there's enough contrast between the wasps and their background. I feel like they kind of blend together a little bit, but I like how each of the elements looks individually. When they were put together, I don't necessarily think that the wasps stood out the greatest. I primarily focused on hatching on the wasp's body. If I could say that word, man, it's hard. But yes, I primarily focused on hatching the wasp's body and left the wings a little bit of a lighter color so that it could at least have some chance of standing out against the background, which was also hatched to give the hexes, the hexagons, a feeling of depth. So you'll see that right about now going into that. And I did not want to hatch each of these individually, so I just copied and pasted it. I think it looks fine. Lazy artist hacks for the win, but yeah, it was much easier to just copy and paste it along, and I think it looks pretty nice. And again, I just copied the wasp as well, so that is day 12, wasp. Day 13 I actually did on stream. If you would like to join me while I'm streaming, I have my stream schedule posted on both my Instagram and my Twitter, but I usually stream on Thursday through Sunday from 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. I'd like to stream for longer, I'm very tired. But the prompt word for day 13 was brutal, so I decided to do this like Jason-esque killer with a big old machete. Again, I thought of maybe doing some more like dismemberment stuff, but not only was I worried about looking at the reference images, but I was a little bit worried about being suppressed on social media and stuff. So I ultimately decided against it and went with this more ominous rather than a full-out gore fest. I actually had a really odd experience drawing this one on stream because while I was working on it, I was hatching it and it just wasn't looking right. And so eventually I sort of just started being really messy with my hatching, almost scribbling. And I feel like it looked so much better than me hatching it traditionally. And I think it's just because it really suited the vibe of the illustration. So this is 100% not how you're supposed to hatch, but honestly, I really liked how it was turning out, so I kept with it. I hatched all the way across the jeans just to give them some separation from the shirt because I felt like it was a little weird that he was wearing a white shirt and white pants. Beyond that, I was just trying to make the legs look more round, give them some depth, and add shading to the crinkles in the pants. I'm not sure it was fully effective. It does look a little messy, but again, I really feel like that adds to the tone of this illustration. This might have broken my rule for Inktober. For those who don't know, I only draw in black and white for Inktober. I don't draw in gray, but I was using this brush that had like an opacity filter on it, like an opacity pressure brush to get like these smeared bloodstains, and it does turn a little gray, so I don't know if that broke the rules. I don't know. I think it's fine because it looks good. And it was kind of unintentional. I just wanted to get a brush that would smear nicely with the blood. And then I went in with a harder brush and added this more, not like fresh, but like solid liquid blood, if that makes sense. So that was day 13, brutal. Again, join me on stream sometime to see me working on the other days of Inktober this month. Lastly, we have day 14. I would like to verbally give a trigger warning for suicide. Sorry, I genuinely, I couldn't think of anything else to draw, and I looked up so many references. I don't like clowns that much. I find clowns quite creepy, so I didn't want to draw a creepy clown. And this is the only other thing I could think of that was like horror themed. I'm really sorry. Anyway, I decided to draw this clown that was being hung from helium balloons. And I really just wanted this clown to be mostly in silhouette. I go back in the end and add some white details to him to make him a little bit more dimensional. I actually really enjoyed working on these balloons. I thought it was quite fun to do this kind of hatching shading. So basically that's day 13, not much to say about it. So if you like this video, please give me a like, follow me on all my social medias, which are listed on the end screen, and I hope you survive this post-plague world.